Silver, you can see what I say here, a worrisome analysis. I have been positive in silver, and I have seen it overperforming gold. And now there's something in there that's changed, and there has been some weakness that has come in, and it definitely, I would say, is worrisome. At least I'm worried. Of course, because I'm a silver holder, and I have been positive on it, and now this is not looking good. So we're going to switch over here. I'm going to go to /SI, and I'm going to show you the analysis that I'm looking at. I'm going to look at the weekly and the daily. So let's look at the last two large harmonic families. For those of you that are brand new to looking at this, these are cycle brackets on the bottom. The gold ones that you see here are gold, and we leave that on there because there's often movement that occurs because of the high correlation between gold and silver, so we want to see how they both act together. Here you can see there was a nesting of some lows from silver here also, and the gold really a little bit off from that. So this, you can see a half cycle right over here and where it bottomed, and a half cycle here, and the clear nesting of everything at that point brought that decline. The yellow zones are where the biggest downside risk is, where there are a lot of cycles that push to the downside. You can see that comes up in silver later on in the June-July period. Right now, it's important to see something, and I'm going to show you the weekly and the daily. So it rallied as it should. We were looking for it to get above this level, and it did. This big upward spike there was the Redditors, that all the discussion was that they were going to create a short squeeze in there, and it happened just for a day. And then I think they realized they couldn't squeeze this one, and that was the end of that. You can see in here that there is a head and shoulders top that's forming. The question is, did it break down yet? It looks like it on the daily chart, and I'll show you that. But now the question is, will it break down now, or will it break down after having another move up kind of into this area? And this would be around high 26s to the mid 27s. In there, and then if it failed in that resistance, then you'd have the completed head and shoulders if it got down below here. 2450 is a really bad spot for it. If it gets below that, it's all over. And you could see all of this risk in here and pointing down for this decline in June and July. If that completes that head and shoulders top, and what will be clearly a double top right over there, you will likely get a decline to the measured move, and that takes you under $20. So that's why I'm concerned when I look at this. Any chart that has this kind of pattern could save itself. It would have to move up, get above this level right over here, above, let's say, 27, and then be able to get through these resistances to save itself, and then ultimately need to get over the 28.5 area for me to say, well, this rescued itself. Right now, this is a dangerous pattern, and to me, looks more like $20 than it does $28, that I'll tell you. So this is a weekly pattern that says it might fool around in here. It might be able to get saved. It might get into the 27s, but over here is where there's a lot of risk in this June-July period for silver. I'll switch over to the daily. These have what are known as complex cycle structures, and when they're trading in the bottom part of the cycle here under negative momentum conditions, as you see here, and you start getting these sell signals for the momentum conditions, that is really dangerous when you see that. And here's that left shoulder and the head, and this right shoulder forming or formed. It got just barely under it and bounced back up, so we don't know whether it broke down, but you're getting into the next week and a half of a lot of risk, and it could fall apart in here. I hope it doesn't, because I still have positions on in here, but at the same time, I'm just wary of what I see in here. So this gold is coming down into the same time frame that this is coming down. So not only is there a lot of risk in June and July that we talked about, but the very near term, this next week, week and a half, is some risk also. I think if it got into this area of just over 25.30 to 25.60, it's really a sell if it gets into that area for short term, because it's likely to fail from there and move down again. Negative momentum that you see right over here in silver, that screaming head and shoulders that you see right there that is made up of 3 dominant cycle patterns. Cycles make head and shoulders and make other patterns. And if you take my cycle analysis workshop, I will teach you all about that. I want you to see one more thing in here, because I'm talking about this negative momentum and the signals that are negative right here. This is where silver turned negative on the weekly chart, and you see that downward turn, and this is a really poor performance that we're seeing in there. So silver, I'm going to say it's risky. At any time you could get some crazy news that causes it to rally, or these short squeezers come back, but that's a low probability based on what I see here. And when I think about that, I know that's part of me that has hope talking, and I don't want to do that. Basically this is an analysis that looks at silver being quite weak. When I look at that, you can see the consistency in these cyclical structures that you see here, and everything that we learn in there. Remember, you want to learn about cycle analysis, go to askSlim.com and go to that workshop tab, and we have some videos there and things that will help you understand what we're doing there. So that is a look at silver, and what I think is a overall not so great pattern, and maybe quite risky.